My peaceful Nick the Medium. Let's see if the YouTube is working. So if you're on YouTube, let me know if you can see me. I am an evidential medium, and I'm going to be painting my Astroflora. It gets a little close. And talking about mediumship. So what I have is, if you can see me over here on YouTube, let me know. And what I have, I'm also on YouTube if you want to join over there. 49ers won last night, big win, I'm a big fan. So I paint, as you can see in the background of either stream, different types of paintings. And one of the, let me grab this painting here and show you. One of the themes I started painting is called Astroflora. So Astroflora is astronomy, which is what my master's degree is in, and flowers, which I love. So this is one of my very first Astroflora paintings. And this here is going to be one of my next Astroflora paintings. So I'm going to kind of cut in the flower. I don't know if you can see, I used a white colored pencil to kind of draw in the lotus flower. I'm a huge fan of lotus flowers. And if you're on YouTube, let me know if you can see me or hear me. I'm not sure. It says there's somebody on there. So we'll see. And if you have any mediumship questions while I paint, let me know. But I'm just going to start cutting in the color. I don't use expensive stuff. I am a self-trained artist. I literally use paper plates, craft store, cheap chintzy paint brushes, and because I often forget to wash them, so they get ruined. Oh, and just craft store paint. I don't use anything fancy. So what I heard yesterday is spirit, possibly, Kitty, very possibly. Spirits do like to come around and make noise. So I'm just going to use this light blue on this dark blue. And a big secret to painting that I discovered is I rarely ever use white unless it's a particular reason. Oh, thank you for that heart. That's beautiful. I rarely ever use white, and I use black limited, even though I make space painting. It may look like there's a lot of black on here, but really it's a bunch of dark blues and purples with a tiny bit of black. So when I try to paint something lighter colors, I'll use just a little bit of this light blue, and these other ones are dry. I like to give a little put a little water on my brush to kind of loosen the paint, because my paint sits for a long time. A very long time, and sometimes they get dry and crusty, and it's hard to paint with dry, crusty paint. So I'm just going to cut in these. I don't like to start in the middle because that's kind of the focal point. So I'm just going to cut this in the little edges here. And I hand drew this, like I said earlier. You see how that's kind of taking shape? Let me aim that up a little bit. Hello. I want you to see the whole canvas. So if you have any questions about how I learned to paint or why I paint, I very often paint for meditation. I get a connection to spirit very strongly when I paint. A little more water. And yes, I used to watch Bob Ross as a kid, and I loved it. But when I was a kid, I didn't have any access to any like paint or canvas. I mean, in the 70s, there were like, you couldn't just go to a craft store. You had to kind of go to a specialty store, and things weren't as readily available. So if you're a younger person watching, be thankful that you have access to all of the wonderful things that you have access to. And the good thing about acrylic, see how I made that mistake there? Oh yes, it's so peaceful. That little mistake right there, that'll be covered up later. but I am lightly just cutting in the edges of this. Most of this paint will be covered up later. And I'm just recovering from a sickness. I had COVID, and so I'm a little shaky, and my muscles still feel a little weird. So if you see me shaky, it's just because I'm not really 100% yet. But I am doing a lot of weekday mediumship readings now. I have mini reading Mondays, where you can see how it looks white on the camera. It's blue. I don't know if you can tell. Oh yeah, it looks more blue on here. I'm using blue. But because this is such a dark background, it looks white, but it's really light blue. I have mini readings on Mondays. If you're new to mediumship, and you just don't want to pay a full fee for a long reading because you're not sure how it'll go, or if it'll be good for you, or if you'll even like it, or whatever. Mini readings are great for just starting out as a mediumship client. And always remember to protect your carpet or floor. My office has carpet, but I have a little plastic covering. I'm a messy painter. I can't tell you how many floors I've had to scrub, but with acrylic paint, it's water-based, so you just get a toothbrush and some soap and it just comes right off. It takes a little elbow grease. Oil paint is another story. It's a whole, you really need ventilation. I have oil paints, and I've dabbled in that a little bit, and I loved it. But it's just such a big job. And before now, I didn't really have a studio to paint in. But now I have this whole office, some studio space here. So I can dabble back into that. So you see, I just cut the leaves in. A lot of this background color is going to stay on this painting. But that's the outline of the painting. Let's see. Hello here on YouTube. I hope you're enjoying this, and I hope you can see the scroll. For those of you watching, subscribe to my YouTube page. I'm really going to move a lot of my content over there. And thank you for all the likes and follows. Now I have to decide what to do next. I think I'm going to add a little more water to this blue and make it very, very thin and kind of translucent and see what happens. Oh, and you know what I forgot? I forgot more paper towels. See how you can take that hard edge there and loosen it with the water and make this look translucent. And you can add even more water, which I'll do now. It's basically almost plain water, and just pull that color down and make it thinner and thinner. And you don't really want to leave paintbrush strokes on your painting. So you can take other brushes, like a dry brush that kind of has a fluffy end. Like, let's see this one. I save all my old brushes, and I have this like old fluffy gross hard brush, but it's really good to go in and then wipe off the wet onto the paper towel. It's good to go in and use a dry brush technique with these old crusty brushes, as long as they're clean. I mean, even if they're not clean, they're going to give you texture. There's really no mistakes with this. But you can see here, I've softened this edge and made this look translucent, and you can see the underlying colors. So I'm not sure how clear you can see the variation of colors. I think each camera I have going here is a little different. Hi, Kathy. I think each color on each camera is a little different. My Niners one, I was worried. I almost turned it off at halftime. And yes, I watched SportsCenter this morning because we were down a lot at half. And we came back and won. I'm a big football fan. My husband and I watch a lot of sports. Kathy loves hockey. It's one thing we don't watch is hockey. You take this dry brush, you go back in and kind of soften that edge. Now this painting will take me a lot of hours to complete, but just getting the base. So the background, let me show you. Let me grab, I have the other background. See if I can find the other backgrounds that I did. So when I was making my, on YouTube you can see it, when I was making this background here, I painted out a bunch of these canvases. You can see the different colors. And that's what I'm using for this line because it's gonna match. So I have a bunch of those ready to do this Astroflora line. So now I have my dry brush. I'm done with it for now, but I want to keep it dry, so I kind of rub it off on the paper towel there. What else is going on? I have a coupon for for weekday readings. It's weekday 2024. So if you want a weekday reading, I have day and evening readings available now. I'm going through a transition to full-time mediumship, which I'm very excited about. I'll be live a lot more. And the reason I'm cutting in these edges is because that's going to be facing, it's going to be the facing edge of the flower, facing the light, theoretically, right? Even if it's in space, you want it to have the proper perspective. And I'm just cutting out that, just getting rid of that hard edge, taking that dry brush and kind of scraping some of that paint away. This will change colors and dimension several times. It's not, painting isn't one or two layers and then you're done. You got to put a lot of layers on paintings. I'm not sure how much you can see the difference there. Everything would be wonderful. Vegas Golden Knights. Oh, I know. And the Super Bowl's in Vegas, Kathy. So it's going to be the Niners and the Chiefs. Hi, Rihanna. How are you? I have a new beginners class starting. Hi on YouTube. I have a new beginners class starting in March, and I have a free class February 10th. You can book that right on my website for free. Just click the button and sign up. The background is what I see when I meditate, Tracy said. You know, when I started mediumship, my teacher, Kathy, and I share, one of the teachers we had was the same teacher. That's how we met. And she had me meditate. And it's called Sitting in the Power. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once. And she had me sit in the power, I think, for 7 days in a row or 10 days and write out what I saw. And when I did that, I immediately went to space. And if you can see over here, I have all these other space paintings that I've painted during my meditations. And I thought, am I going to space because my master's degree is in astronomy and I think about space constantly all the time? Or am I really going there when I'm sitting in the power? Is that how I connect to spirit? now I have the belief that I go into the universe because that's how I connect to spirit. And it's wonderful to be out there. They're nicer. The beings in spirit are a lot nicer often than some of the beings here. And I have a free guide to my spirit guide on my website. You can sign up for. You just click the button and it'll go right into your email within a few seconds. And yeah, I have a lot of freebies. I do a lot of free lives. I do a lot of free readings. Me and Kathy are going live together for free readings Thursday on TikTok, right, Kathy? I believe that's right. Oh, I put water on the wrong brush because I got distracted. Kathy and I are going live on TikTok together, free readings Thursday night. So that'll be awesome. I'm very excited for that. I'm doing a near-death experience live with Billy Rubino Wednesday at 1 o'clock on TikTok, which I will ask his permission if he allows me to upload that to YouTube. And napkins are a great tool for painting. You can do all kinds of stuff. Like there, I just put too much paint and I didn't really want as much as I had there. So I just kind of erased it with the paper towel. If it's fresh, it'll come off pretty easy. But again, yeah, these dry brushes are the best because they can really make a big difference in softening edges. And I like to have, because I didn't go to art school, I just started dabbling with paints. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I just started dabbling with paints when I was like 19 or 18. I bought construction paper and paints like this at Walgreens or something. And I just started painting, and I actually still have some of those original paintings that I did 40 years ago or more, 35 years ago, something like that. And that's how I started. And I watched some videos on different techniques, but there was no YouTube until 10 years ago or something. So I kind of had to figure different stuff out by making mistakes. I learned the most by making mistakes in my paintings. Same thing with mediumship. Every time you make a mistake, you're like, oh, don't do that again. Hi. How are you? Naneka on YouTube. I'm doing great. Kathy's on the TikTok, but you please stay on YouTube. It helps boost my algorithm. I'm going to go live on YouTube a lot more. I'll just take a minute and answer a question here. Tina wants to know, is David my forever man? And I'll say what I always say. I never make love predictions, and I never say, is this person your person forever? I will never say that. I say this. I've been married for 28 years, and I can't guarantee that my husband's going to be my husband forever. I hope he's my husband forever. I want him to be my husband forever. But you can't control everything that happens with a person and people all the time. I always tell people, get your own healing in order. Get your own trauma worked out. Go to therapy if you feel like you need it. Deal with any addictive behavior. Oh, I'm glad I pronounced your name correctly. That's wonderful. I'm glad you're here. Heal yourself. Become a complete person yourself before you feel like, oh, I want to be in this relationship with this person. Make sure you have a whole you before you get in a relationship with a half a person. Fulfill all of who you are completely, financially, educationally, get yourself in order. And then if you find somebody that you connect with that you feel like is on, you know, a level playing field with you, is emotionally intelligent wise, then go for it. I'm not saying, I don't know you, so I don't know if this is true for you or not. I just don't make love predictions. That light is kind of making me wonky over here. Don't laugh at my shorts, it's hot in here. So that's what I would say. Get yourself in order. Diamond wants to know, will my anxiety get better? There are techniques that you can use. I tell people this. If you're having because I have anxiety, if you're having an anxiety attack, look around the room you're in, or if you're outside, and find 5 colors: orange, green, blue, silver, pink. And then find 5 shapes: circle, star, square, triangle, rectangle. And count 5 things for a few minutes until your anxiety subsides. That's a great way to settle your anxiety down. You can, if you're around people and you have anxiety, you can imagine mirrors facing outward away from you, and imagine all of their energy going back to them so you can preserve your own energy. Those are just some techniques I use. I've been around people in the past that have made me very anxious, in crowds especially, and those are some of the techniques I use. You are welcome. Hi, Lorenda. Oh, I'm glad. Join. Lorenda's a wonderful medium. Follow her. Follow Kathy. Hi, Ashley. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are here. Naneka wants to know on YouTube, do you see me having children within the next 5 years? I do not predict children either, because there are so many variables that can happen with a human body. So I would never want to predict that you're going to have a child, and then if it doesn't happen, you're going to be disappointed and you might be mad at me and blame me. So I don't predict pregnancy or relationships. And those are probably 2 of the most common questions I get. Hi, Donna Marie. So thanks for the question. I'm going to add another color to one of these inner edges of these leaves of the lotus here. Ooh, leaves of the lotus. That's a great band name. Leaves of the lotus. And again, these colors will change many times. Next time you see me on a live, this is going to look really different. But the background base color is really important. Most of that will get covered up. And the more layers you put on a painting, the more depth it gives it. Even if you feel like, well, I'm going to cover all that up, it still gives the painting depth. So if you dabble in just painting for fun or meditation like I do, the more layers, like this background has 3 layers of, I think I use 4 different colors. So the background already has 3 layers on it, which is the background I painted when I started that painting for my wall painting. So the more layers, the more depth. And that's just like a person, right? The more layered a person's personality is, the more depth they have. It needs a little adjustment right here. And the other thing, when you do paintings, you can stand back from them and kind of squint your eyes and you'll see it. Another way, if you want to like see how your painting's going to look to other people, take a picture on your phone and look at it. Because when you stare, it's like cooking. If you cook for your family and you're just like, ugh, more food, I had to cook again, blah, blah, blah. If you cook for your family, the food never tastes as good as when somebody cooks for you, or when you go to a restaurant. It could be the same thing. It could be chicken and dumplings that you get at your own kitchen or your grandma's kitchen. Her chicken and dumplings are always going to taste better, even if they're the same, because you didn't stand over the stove and breathe it. So, all right, the edges of the leaves, you can see it barely on the camera, but it makes a big difference having these edges kind of lighter colors. And sometimes, like, I start a painting and I have an overall idea of what's going to happen in the painting, and sometimes it sort of comes out like that. Sometimes it does not come out like I planned at all. And that's because I'm not a trained artist. I just kind of go with the flow and what feels good at the time. Because art is subjective. And if I feel like it's beautiful, I don't care if anybody else thinks it's beautiful. It feels beautiful to me. I have so many paintings and people are like, why don't you sell your art? And I think my art could sell easily, but it's very hard to start an art business and make it be lucrative unless you have, a lot of backing and advertising dollars, and it's just not the way I don't want to spend my time doing that. I'd rather put my efforts into my mediumship and grow that. Naneka wants to know, is there an important, thank you, Kathy. She said yes. Is there an important message from Spirit that I should be aware of? I'm not doing readings right now on here, but Kathy and I are doing free readings Thursday on TikTok. Same screen name. You can find all my links in the description at 7:30 Eastern time. And, it would take a reading for you to get that message. Right now I'm trying to concentrate on 2 live streams and painting and just answering general questions. But I'm glad you're here. Feel free to ask mediumship questions. You can get a free guide to your spirit guide on my website. I mentioned that earlier. If you want to go there and click on that. I have mini reading Mondays. $35 every Monday. I have evening readings and weekday readings now. I've transitioned into full-time mediumship, and I could not be happier about that. I'm just trying to get these edges in. And what I'll do is all these edges will get softened. It won't look like this hard outline anymore. When I look at the camera, I see it. I like the way it looks better on the camera than in real life. That's so funny, but that's typical. Shelby says, will I be moving soon? Are you planning on moving? I'm not doing any readings. Thank you, Ashley. Ashley's one of my dearest people in the whole wide world. She is a wonderful, wonderful human. Oh, thank you, Kathy. Kathy, you're not so bad yourself, lady. Did you get anything new this weekend, Kathy? I didn't hear from you, so I wasn't sure. So I hope everybody watching on TikTok will Not this weekend, maybe next. Okay, awesome. Let's see. Trying her hopefully. Okay. Well, if it's the right move for you, Shelby, this is my opinion. When people ask me questions like that, Shelby, my answer is, and I'm talking about, should I move? Should I do this? Yeah, just a second and an echo. I always say, when you have a big decision to make in life, if you even make the wrong decision, you will get led back to the right place. Even if it's the wrong decision. Let's say you decide to get married and you're madly in love and everything's wonderful and it's the greatest thing ever and everybody's happy. And then 5 years later, you're like, this isn't really what I thought it was, or this person isn't who I thought they were, or I'm not who I thought I was. You will get led back to where you're supposed to be. For example, I mentioned earlier, I've been married 28 years in May, and 28 years. And when I met my husband, when I saw his eyes, I felt like I knew him my whole life. And it was like, there you are. I've been waiting for you. And I had traveled from San Francisco to Lexington, Kentucky. I was on what I call my walkabout. And I'm in Lexington, Kentucky, of all places. Never imagined being there ever. But I was traveling through the country, I'll say. And there he was. And I just knew. And I called my girlfriend later. And I told her I met somebody that was going to be really important, basically. And a few days later, he asked me on a date. We moved in together shortly after that, got married the next year, and we've been together ever since. That doesn't mean we haven't had trials and tribulations, but we've worked things out and we've decided that this is the journey we're supposed to be on together. Then when I became a medium, I read Journey of Souls, highly recommend for anybody interested in mediumship. And in that book, it talks about I wept through most of that book because the things that I was reading were so similar to things I had experienced in my meditation or in my life in so many ways. It just was so shocking. But one of the things the author talked about when he was putting people into past life regressions, life in between life regressions, they say we plan who we're going to be in our life with. And at certain points, and there's a term for it, maybe Kathy knows the term. Thank you. We plan who we're going to meet and when we're going to meet and what the what we're going to see when we see them to know it's them. And to me, when I met my husband, I saw his eyes immediately. And he's got these huge, beautiful eyelashes, these big brown eyes, and these beautiful smile. And it was like we were connected through eternity. And I never thought I was going to be a medium. I didn't know anything about that. But when I read in Michael Newton's book that we will meet certain people at certain times and we'll recognize certain things about them that make us know, oh, this person's supposed to be in my life right now for this reason, I was just blown away. It's just, we have an outline of things that we're supposed to do in our life and experience. And that includes people that we're supposed to be in contact with. Sometimes it's the lady at the grocery store that's standing in front of you and she's got a kid in her basket that has a sticky sucker in his hand. And you're just supposed to make eye contact with that kid for 5 seconds and exchange a blessing or something. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be a long-term marriage. It can be anything. Also in the Celestine Prophecy I read in the early 90s, great read, wonderful book. They said, the author, I think it's James Redfern, I can't remember if anybody knows. They mentioned that every person you encounter for a reason, and always send them a prayer or a blessing, something to that effect. Always bring them a gift. So even if you don't like your mother-in-law, which is common if you're married, most of the time mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws have some iffy stuff. Just greet her with a blessing. It can be a silent blessing. So we need to try to recognize that the people who are in our lives and the experiences we have happen for a reason. And if you move and you're not supposed to move, you're going to end up where you're supposed to be eventually anyway. So don't worry about that. I know that was a very, very, very long way to get to that point, but that's my answer. Nemneka wants to know different classification of different question types. Well, there's no question types. I get asked about spirit guides and sitting in the power and clairs a lot. There's not really a classification. Thank you for being engaged and all your comments. All right, let's see how this is looking. I'm trying to keep track of my dry brushes and my damp ones. Water, if you paint with acrylics, water can be your best friend. Especially if you want an ethereal look. And I like things to look ethereal. I think I mentioned earlier, I used to make everything had hard lines because I'm so science-minded that I when I would paint, I wanted it to be like these perfect lines and everything had to be perfect. But then the more I matured in my life, I realized, things in nature, I only paint nature. Things in nature, nothing has like a strict hard edge. Everything's kind of flowy. And the older I get, the more flowy I like things to be. I don't like hard edges. I like softness and peace and quiet. That's my goal as I get older. I've lived in big cities. I live next to a big city right now. I actually, when we moved, I'm so silly. I didn't know that and I just, out of pure ignorance, I didn't realize how crowded the city where I was moving is. Just sheer ignorance on my part. But the little town I live in on the outskirts is much better, much smaller. I could literally walk to my grocery store if I had to, which is nice. Not that I want to carry a bunch of groceries home, but if I needed to, if I had an emergency, I could. So I'm trying to take these outer edges of these leaves and just soften them up a bit. That one got a little too dry, a little too fast. So you just go in with a little water and erase it. It's the best thing about acrylics. It's erasable within a couple minutes, depending on the humidity. If you're in a really dry climate like Arizona, this might not work. But I'm in a humid climate, so it doesn't dry as quick. which is good for me. And again, this stuff will all get painted over and look very different at the end. I don't know what's happening outside my window, but there's a lot of noise out there. Oh, where'd it go? I am just painting Astroflora for those of you who joined. This is part of my Astroflora line. It's astronomy and flowers mixed together. I always use purple because purple's the best. I'm a purple person. I'm a very purple people. And funny, I just was remembering, I don't know if Holly's still on my YouTube. Oh, yay. Thanks, Donna. I appreciate that. It really helps my YouTube algorithm. Holly, if you're still on there, I don't know if you remember this, but when we lived on Sea Highway in Missouri when we were little, I went to a summer camp with my friend Shelly, and the camp leader girl, I guess she was a teenager. I was like 12. Her name was Purple. That wasn't her real name, but that's the name she went by. And everything she wore was purple. And I was like, oh my God, she's the coolest person I've ever met. And I just was thinking about that the other day. Purple. She was cool. I had fun at that camp. Okay, let's see. I don't know if Holly's still on there. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Ashley. Oh, good, Ash. Your leg splints are off. Oh, Kathy, great question. Does spirit inspire paintings? Yeah. So like I was saying earlier, these paintings, I don't know if you can see the ones with the yellow orbs on them. Those, Kathy, you'll find this interesting. Oh, I think got all wonky. I was, for about 6 months before I started my first mediumship class, I was painting these. No. That's not right. After I started my mediumship classes, before I read Dr. Michael Newton, 6 months before I read Dr. Newton, I started painting these orbs obsessively. I have them everywhere. I have so many of them, I don't know what to do with them. And I did not know why I was painting them so obsessively, like a maniac. I would put music on and I would meditate. I'm a big music person. And I read Dr. Michael Newton again. Sorry about that, everybody. But it's just worth a read if you're interested in mediumship. And in the book, he talks about the people he's regressing. Talk about the different colored orbs in spirit. And that's our soul. Kathy already knows this, but for those of you who don't know, that's what our souls look like. They're orbs of different colors. Different colors are different jobs, let's say. And I kept painting yellow, over and over. I just couldn't stop. And I read the book, and those of you who don't know, I'm a teacher. Well, I was until last week, in my day job. And when I did my meditation, sitting in the power and writing out my meditation, I was a teacher in the spirit world. And, I didn't know what the crossover may be between my real life and my spirit life. I was just, sitting in the power. And I read the book, and the yellow orbs represent the teachers in spirit. And the blue orbs are like a higher being, a different level. Not that there's a hierarchy there like there is here, but I just thought it was so fascinating. And it's very meditative for me, connects me to spirit very much. And relaxes my mind and gets me to step away from my analytical mind into my more spiritual mind. Oh, Kathy, I'll show you something. Let me show you, Kathy. I told you I have these orbs everywhere. I can't believe I never showed you these. This is, I don't know how the angles look. It looks different in real life, but you can see this is my painting of the spirit world based on Michael Newton's book, The Different Orbs. Isn't that awesome? I have more of these somewhere, but when I moved, they kind of got all put in a closet. Isn't that crazy? There's your blue orbs. And the yellow ones. Yeah, I love it. It's beautiful. So yeah, that is the answer to that question. I think I answered it. I think I did. I know there's not going to be a lot of, business here on, oh yay, on a Monday, but I thought I'd come on and just hang out. Let's see. I almost want to add another color already. Let me soften this edge because it's really dark. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you guys. Oh, some comments were filtered to protect the community's experience. Thank you, TikTok. I wanted to talk to you about the lotus flower and the town I moved to. So, for those of you who know, I recently moved across the country, much to my sadness, because not very comfortable where I live as far as several things. I love my house. I love the little town I live in, but overall I'm not a big fan of the heat and humidity. But I was telling you the purple story and the logo for the city I live in is a purple lotus flower. Isn't that awesome? The lotus flower. So I knew it was a lotus flower, but yesterday I was texting with my sister and it came up and I'm like, did you know that the logo of the town I live in is a purple lotus flower? When I first saw it on the outline of a lotus flower on my garbage can when we moved, I'm like, thank God. Spirit's with me, because I definitely didn't want to move. But I'm getting older, want to plan for my retirement, slow down my life, settle down. And so I did it. Soften this up. It's a little stark on there. And the great thing about acrylics, you can't really make a mistake. It's mistake proof, because worst case scenario, even if it dries, you can paint right over it. Especially if you're painting like things with soft edges, it's really nice. And I did see recently they have like acrylics that are like more like oils. They're like, they'll the problem with acrylics is they dry so fast and they blend very differently from oils, and they don't have as muted of tones as oils. But I like bright colors, so that doesn't bother me. Bright colors make my brain work. That's just me. Soften, soften, soften. Kathy, I was watching a content creator the other day who said you have to go on TikTok for 2 to 3 hours now to get in the algorithm. So maybe we'll have an intermission Thursday night. I don't know about 3 hours. I've been on here 50 minutes and I can barely talk now. Yeah. So maybe we'll have a 10-minute break or something. I don't know. We'll talk about it. But I thought, and the person interviewing him was like, what? He's like, yeah. Because even when I go live at night, sometimes I might get 8 or 10 people, and I have a lot of followers, and it doesn't make sense. So, whatever. I think I'm going to add a color. I think I'm going to add a little pink. A little pink. A very light pink. And you know, I'm so frugal. This pink busted, and I taped it on the end because I don't want, even though this is 50 cents, I wanted to, oh no, I might not be able to open it. Oh, there it goes. I wanted to conserve the paint, the whole 50 cents worth of paint. I wanted to conserve it. All right, let's see if the pink looks different. Ooh, we're gonna go in here with the pink. Oh. Sorry, guys. I'm still fighting COVID. Now, a good trick is I'm gonna have to go get a tissue. See how I'm removing some of the paint to make it look darker in the center? In 2 different tones of color, the inner edge and the outer edge. Now, again, I'm not a trained artist. I just kind of came up with these techniques. Right or wrong, I don't know. Just makes me happy. And again, this will all change over time. This is not going to be the final product. I'm going to go run and get a Halls for my throat. But feel free to watch my painting while I go grab a Halls. I'll be back. Thank you to everybody who's watching. Did you ever go? No, Carol, I never went to an art class. No. I told that I'll come back and I'll tell you the story. Got my Halls. Oh, thank you. I started painting when I was like 18 or 19 on construction paper with the same supplies, cheap paintbrushes and paint. Now I actually have canvas. I get the ones on sale. But I just paint for meditation, relaxation. Just eases my mind very much. Relaxes me. I get ideas when I paint. I think it's because it relaxes my mind that I get so many ideas. I tell my former students that when they have a bunch of like they'll have a math test and a science test back to back, and I'm like, in between, draw a picture. Doesn't matter what it is, just doodle a picture on your notebook for 5 or 10 minutes. And it'll reset your brain. If you want to relax the analytical part of your brain, like now that I'm doing mediumship full time, I'm constantly on my social media, posting, constantly on Zoom doing readings. So I'm constantly thinking. So this is a really good way to relax my mind and help me get new ideas in there. I'm just adding, oh no, I mixed my colors up by accident. But again, there's no accidents with acrylic. Well, we'll see how that turns out. Oopsie. See how this just looks like a mess of a mush? It'll all change and be smoothed out. See, I use a lot of paper towels. And look, it's all purple. Again, if you're going to do this and it's really humid, erasing with a paper towel on acrylic, you have to be careful with if it's dry, like if the air's dry. I live in humidity, so it works, but I've lived in arid places where this does not work as well. Just practice making a lot of mistakes, trying new things, different brushes do different things. I probably would be a better painter if I learned more about that, but I don't care. I like doing it my way. I'm not a big in the box person. I like to think outside of the box and go my own way. I don't like to follow what other people tell me to do. I see this meme all the time that I love. It says, "Oh, thank you, Keisha." Oh, okay, Kathy, I'll answer that in just a second. I see this meme all the time that says, we are the granddaughters of the witches they burned. And I feel that so deeply. Like, I for sure, if I lived in a lifetime during then, which I really want a past life regression super bad, I just haven't had time to do it. I am sure. Hi. Oh, I'm not left-handed. It's just backwards. My son's left-handed though, Ethan. Oh, I'm glad you like that, Donna. Kathy, I have done watercolors and oil. I just have so many acrylic supplies and it's just so much easier for me. Oil is a whole different thing, but now that I have an office space where I can set my studio up permanently, I could do that again. Problem is when it gets hot, I'm not going to be able to open the window and you have to have like a breeze. So maybe I'll do that in the spring before it gets hot. I love oil. It's just a totally different set of jobs. Like acrylic, literally, see this cup? In November I painted. And I just set my cup of brushes in water in my bathroom in here. And this morning I'm like, oh, I need my brushes if I'm going to paint. And this was dry and my brushes were dry. Oil, if you did that, it's like you have to set it in like turpentine or something like that. And so the whole house would smell and it's like toxic. So this I could forget about and not care because I may have spent $5 whole on this. And I've had these brushes, as you can see, for years. They're all crusty. So oil is a whole job. Like it takes time to set up and the cleaning is a nightmare. But I love it. It's just you need the space and time to do it and to clean up. And watercolors I like. I'm not as good at it because I haven't used it as much. Jamie said, you asked what question I would ask if my mom is finally free. People never knew I existed. I just got off the phone with the adoption agency because I have to. It's a lot of mom's adoptions I figure out who her dad is, maybe unseal it. Get a DNA test, ancestry.com. It's the easiest way. Because if any relative of her parents has had a DNA test, you'll be able to find them like that. Yeah, oil paint is more unforgiving. Cat Slay, is my mom with me? Yes, as soon as you type that. Our people in spirit are right there with us. Spirit world isn't a faraway place. It's right over us at the same time. Oh, okay, good. Jamie, good. All right. Yeah, so just like I said to the other question, as soon as we're thinking about our loved ones, they're right there because the spirit world's overlapping with us. It's not a faraway place. I've studied a lot of quantum entanglement, quantum physics, because my master's degree is astronomy. And so I know in science, from science, not just from mediumship, that there are multiple dimensions that we can't see or be in contact with at this time, unless you're a medium, like me and Kathy, and I think Lorenda's on here. Follow both of them. Oh, what did I do? Sorry, a whole bunch of stuff's coming through. Anyway, so everything is overlapping and intertwined. Yes, you can smell things. Yep, that's a clair. There's clair. Feeling, seeing, smelling, knowing, tasting, all of the clair, all of your physical senses are also mediumship senses. User somebody wants to know who the last loved one of mine that passed away. Well, you would need a reading for that, and I'm not doing readings. Divine wants to know, is a man I asked roller skating gonna go? I don't do like psychic or relationship predictions. I can answer like general mediumship questions, but I'm not doing any like readings right now. It's too much. I've got YouTube live, TikTok live, and I'm painting. It's a lot. It's a lot. Okay. I'm going to go in over here with pink. If anybody's had COVID, let me know if you've experienced what I'm about to tell you. I have had COVID 3 times. 2 of the 3 times I got COVID in Florida, which is where I am now. And I'll have a day, like yesterday I felt great. Today I don't feel so good. The day before yesterday I didn't feel so good. But the day before that I felt great. It's like every other day I feel very different. And it's been a week and a half since I got it. I started symptoms the Thursday a week and a half ago. But I don't feel the same fatigue I did. The first time I had COVID, I was so fatigued for 3 weeks and my brain fog was beyond the pale. I had brain fog for 6 months after the first time I had it. Now my brain fog's not that bad. I have it a little. But the first time I had COVID, my brain fog was almost impossible for me to work and remember what I was doing at work. It was terrible. Didn't affect my mediumship, which is good. Because I guess you don't need a memory to do mediumship. You just need to connect to spirit. Just general mediumship questions. It's a mind-clearing day for you. Yeah, it is. Donna, thank you. So again, I'm just kind of erasing to bring that darker color that's in the background through. And all these hard edges will eventually be softened up. And this will look very different. If you see me on a live again and I have the same painting up, it'll look different. Because obviously I'm not going to finish it today. When I was younger and I painted, I would sit down and I wouldn't. Oh, bye, honey. Bye. Thursday, me and Medium Kathy, everybody follow her, live readings Thursday at 7:30 Eastern. When I first started doing paintings years and years and years ago, I had to finish the painting as soon as I started it. Like I wouldn't stop the painting until I was finished. Now I can let a painting sit sometimes for a year before I go back to it. I guess I'm more patient in my older age. I don't feel the need to complete it immediately anymore. The thing about acrylic paint that's different from oil is it always dries a shade darker. Oil dries lighter. So if you paint, that's something to remember, to think about. It looks so much different here than it does to my eyes. Donna said, I had COVID in October. I still don't 100% get energy and it doesn't last too long. Yeah, that happened to me. The first time I had it for 3 weeks, I was so fatigued I could barely move. Weirdly, the first time I had it was in December 21. And the day I got home for my Christmas break for 2 weeks, I took a test and my husband and I were both positive. So we were sick the whole Christmas break. And then I stayed sick for another week after that. I was not contagious anymore, so I went back to work. But the fatigue was terrible. Unbearable, the fatigue. And then I was pretty fatigued for a long time. And now I just feel really, like, right before I came up to my office to do this live, I'm like, oh, I don't really feel that good. I don't feel as good as I thought I was going to. But we'll see. Oh, that's better. I just dipped my napkin in a little bit more water to try to take some more of that lighter color off and bring that purple through. And when it dries, you'll see it's got to dry. There is something good about living in a humid climate. I don't like, this looks too stark. I'm going to have to soften those edges. The good thing about living in a humid climate, if you paint with acrylics, is it doesn't dry too fast. Like when you live in a dry climate, it dries too fast. I've lived in dry climates where I would keep a squirt bottle to squirt down the paint on my paper plate, my palette, because the paint would dry before I could use it. Like it would dry so fast, and the paint, and I would squirt the canvas. I would wet the back of the canvas and the front of the canvas before I would paint on it. But once it dries, it's dry. You can't undry it. That's the hard part about living where it's dry. But when it's summertime here, it's going to be so humid, it'll take forever for this to dry. Which is, it's good if you're not in a hurry to finish a painting. Like, I'm not on a timeline for my paintings because nobody's waiting at their mailbox for it. You know, I'm just painting for pleasure and meditation. I would sell my paintings, but I'm not really trying to. I've sold paintings. I used to be a muralist, actually. I painted murals when my kids were little, in businesses and homes. I painted murals for a long time. And then it kind of fell out of fashion, and now it's kind of back off and on. Businesses often request murals, but I'm not one to stay in the same place for very long. So both places I started my mural business years ago, I had business really quick and I made good money at it. But the older I got, it's just hard on my body to stand up and paint for 8 or 10 hours a day. It just takes a lot out of the body physically. You're standing, you're bending over, you're, painting huge giant walls. It takes a lot. And I worked by myself, so I didn't have an assistant or anything to help. But I painted some pretty awesome murals. First mural I painted was for my friend Carrie. Oh, bye, Namika. I'll see you Thursday. It's not on YouTube, it's on TikTok. The first mural I ever painted was for my friend Carrie for her baby Gavin, who wasn't born yet, and it was A Bug's Life. And I think I have my portfolio. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's right in here. I know I have it somewhere. Ah, it's right here. Oh, I'm excited. Don't laugh if all my paintings come flying out of my closet, because I have so many, hundreds of them. You guys are going to love this. I love this painting. I was pregnant. Maybe Gavin was born already. That's my friend's son. I was pregnant with my son, Jeremiah, when I did this painting, this mural. Oh, please be in here. And I loved it so much. Actually, oh, here's some pictures of it. Some small pictures. Oh, these pictures are dim. I don't know if you can see that. This was a huge whole wall I did of A Bug's Life. And actually, if you guys remember, I don't know if you're Star Wars fans or not. I don't know where the big picture of that is. When Mandalorian came out and Baby Yoda was a thing, there was no Baby Yoda merch. They didn't expect it to be such a big thing. And so my son, Jeremiah, asked me to paint him a Baby Yoda painting. So I did. I actually painted a few for him and some friends who were also Star Wars fans. And I posted the Baby Yoda painting on Etsy, and I got a cease and desist letter from the Disney company. So that, don't do that. Lesson learned. Copyright infringement, no good. I'm sure I could have sold them not on a public platform, but it was COVID, I think, or beginning of COVID. I don't remember. It would have been COVID. Anyway. Yeah, Carol, 2 months ago. So the place I was just working, that I no longer work at, we weren't allowed to open our windows, and we had to keep our door locked at all times. And so I've been in this place with all these other people trapped in this, I call it the hermetically sealed room. Oh, thank you. I'm painting that. And I have been sick every 3 weeks since I started there in August, and I don't work there anymore as of last Thursday. So I have mediumship during the week now. So I have daytime readings, evening readings, and that's why I can do lives now. I'm going to be doing a lot more lives. Amelia wants to know, do you see me marrying the man I'm currently dating? If you were on earlier, you would know I don't do love predictions or marriage predictions. Make sure you heal yourself. Make sure you're completely financially and educationally independent. Make sure you're emotionally mature. Make sure he's emotionally mature before you commit to anything. Don't just commit to be loved, because you are worthy of love and being valued. Okay? All right. So I'm still working on the lotus flower. I'm going to add another color. I kind of wing it when I paint. I don't really always have an exact plan. Again, because I didn't go to art school. And Peaceful Nick doesn't like rules and regulations. If you know me well, you know that. I kind of like to do my own thing. We're going to cut in some purple here. All of these edges will be softened and changed, and this will look very different when it's done. Just adding a little water to kind of soften it up. I have some other, like, I don't know if they're called glazes or other things you can add to the paint to kind of make it move around a little better. But for this painting, waters will do the trick. Other paintings, like if you want to make a real atmospheric look, this is kind of a mystical painting, so I don't need to use the other gels and stuff. Water will work for this. Because this is going to have like a space theme overlaying it. So for those of you who don't know, who weren't here, I'm making Astroflora. So this is a flower with astronomical things, because my master's degree is astronomy and I'm a medium. So I'm a medium with a medium. Okay, so questions about readings. So on my YouTube, I have a scroll that tells you how to get my readings. But if you go to my website, I actually have a coupon for weekday readings. So it's a huge discount on readings right now. It's weekday 2024. So if you book a weekday reading, I have weekday, day, and evening readings now. I always have Saturday readings. I have mini mediumship Mondays. Those are mini readings. Those are 15-minute readings for only $35 if you're new to mediumship and you just want to try it out, or if you're new to getting a reading from me. All of that's on my website, and it's all in the snip feed in the bio. So it's all there. Can you do one now? No, I'm not doing readings now because it's too much with YouTube and TikTok and the painting. I have to really connect and be present for a reading. I can't be like distracted doing 10 things to give a good reading. But Thursday night, I'm going live here on TikTok with Kathy Behrens, and we're going to do free live readings Thursday night. So set a reminder for that. If you want a free reading, or if you want an individual paid reading, you can go to the website and get a one-on-one reading from me. So that's how that works. So I'm just cutting in all the colors on my Astroflora painting here. This will have space painted in over it. Next time you see it, it'll be different looking probably. I'm just using a little dry brush technique. This brush isn't 100% dry, so it's more moving the paint around than anything. So I'm just going to cut in with a napkin. And you want the inside of the lotus to be darker because it's kind of curved. So that should be a little darker than the edges. So I'm just kind of taking a little bit of that color back off. And then smooth out these edges a little. I don't like any harsh edges. I like things to be smooth and ethereal. I don't like any straight hard edges. What time? Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern time. Thursday night, me and Kathy on TikTok. 7:30 Eastern. What do you guys think of the title, A Medium with a Medium? I thought it was a clever play on words. And I know people like to watch people like cook and do recipes, and but I love to paint, and it relaxes me and gets me in the feeling of, you know, meditation and spirituality. And you know, I didn't know years ago that I was going to be a medium, but I always felt very relaxed and calm when I painted, and I think it was kind of preparing me for the future. Which is exciting. Because you know, the things you do in your life, if you're a younger person and you have like 1,000 hobbies. So I've been in education for 20 years or so, teaching in schools and colleges. And one of the things that upsets me the most is when parents, teachers, and counselors, sunshine, yes, and yes, for sure, 100%. One of the things that teachers, counselors, and parents do is they force these young children from young ages, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, to make a decision about what they're going to do for the rest of their life and to go to a certain college. And often the kids have no idea what they want to do. No idea. And I have 2 adult sons, and I told them, because I think I was in education and I saw a lot of horrible things happen, a lot of emotional distress caused by parents, teachers, counselors to kids who pressure them into doing what they think the kids should do when the kid's brain's not even developed enough to know what they want to do. I didn't become a medium till I was in my late 40s. And this is the number one, and you know, I have a science background, I have a career in science, communication, and education, and I love that, and I will never stop loving science, and I will always continue to be a part of that world. But nothing is going to stop me from being a part of the mediumship world, ever. But that didn't happen till later in life. Just a little rant. Don't, if you're a younger person and you're not sure what you want to do with your life, that is perfectly fine. Try different things. I've had several careers. I had a career in retail management. I had a career where I worked in a doctor's office and did lab work for skin cancer patients. You know, I've done a lot of different things, and it makes you a more well-rounded person. You experience different types of things. And I've been an educator. and a science communicator for 20 years. And now I'm a medium. So do different things, experience different things in your life. Don't feel boxed into a corner. Don't listen to society try to make you do what you think they want you to do. Do what you want to do. Do what makes you happy. As I always say, you're going to piss off 50% of the people anyway. You might as well make yourself happy. That's what I always say. I know so many people who've been harmed by their family and loved ones, supposedly, because they wanted them to be who they wanted them to be and didn't allow these young people to become what they are meant to be. It's just really upsetting to see that happen. Oh, this is going to be... What color? We're going to go purple on this one. We're going in purple. Going in. There. That is... That's the one right there. This is going to be... Now, because this is going to be the piece of the flower that's sticking out, I'm going to put a lighter tip here, but I have to let this dry first. And I don't want to soften this one up too much because it's going to be a little more prominent and sticking towards the viewer. Diana. Oh, angel number. Oh, Donna, that's sweet. Diana said, my son ran away. Is he going to come back on the right path and stop doing wrong? You can if your son is of adult age, 18 or over, there's really nothing you can do to make him come back, right? I'm going to guess that your son has blamed you for things or blamed someone. Okay, he's 16. I'm going to guess that he's experienced some trauma. Kids don't run away because they're happy, right? Something's happened to them. And he needs a way to heal, and he needs to hit his bottom. Even if he came back home, that doesn't mean he's healed. It just means he's there temporarily, just because he needs to probably get some counseling. I imagine he's doing some kind of substances, if you said doing wrong. And I'm going to guess that he wants you or other caretakers to take, to acknowledge your part, whether it's direct or indirect, in anything that has caused him pain or trauma. So you may not have directly traumatized him, but in his mind, he may be blaming you for whatever. I have a friend who has a son who blames her for everything. And yes, she has made mistakes, but she had to acknowledge, whether he heard it or not, I'm not sure, but she had to acknowledge to her son that she made these mistakes. And they want to hear that acknowledgement, regardless of whether you directly or indirectly harmed him. If you, the mom always gets the brunt of the blame for everything. So I can't predict if he'll come home, but I will say, oh, that's funny. I can teach you, Ethan. I can teach you some simple techniques. But I wouldn't, I would continue to love him from a distance. If you have any contact with him, remind him that he is loved, he's worthy, you're willing to help him, and acknowledge your part in anything you may think he perceives that you did wrong. That's what younger people want, acknowledgement of our mistakes. It's funny, Donna, I have a dehumidifier in my house because I live in a humid area. And so in the attic, there's a dehumidifier. So this is part of the COVID recovery. I hope that helped you, Diana. And when I talk a lot, this happens to me. When I go live for a long time. All right. I really want to get going on this a little more before we log out here. You are welcome. Hi, Sober Beautiful Disaster. Thank you for all the likes and follows and everything. Sober Beautiful, I think you've been on my lives before. Have I given you a reading before? And I don't like how dark that is. But on the camera, it looks better than in real life. See all my paintings over there? They're everywhere. My goal for this is gentle lines, nothing stark. I want everything to be easy. I don't like how bright that is right there. Ooh, but you know what? This is ready for a little nubbin here. My husband always tells me, he's seen me paint since he's known me, I've painted. And he always says, he's like, sometimes, he used to say this, now he knows. He's like, when I see you start painting something, I think, oh, what is that gonna be? And then all of a sudden, it would turn into this beautiful painting. And I thought, how did that not so pretty thing turn into such a pretty thing? I said, well, that's because you gotta have layers. You can't just, slap one coat of paint on. It's gotta have layers and dimension. And now he knows, like, oh, it may not look great now, but after the layers go on, it's gonna look like something. He's my biggest fan, and I'm so appreciative of that. Now, see how I just smoothed that out and made that look so much lighter and better? Now I'm going to smooth the edges of this because this is supposed to be the part of the lotus leaf that's kind of sticking out towards you. So I want that little bright spot, but I want to smooth the edges so it kind of blends, but you can still see that it's coming towards you. You know where I learned this? In a chemistry class. When you draw Lewis structures in 3 dimensions, that's the pictures of like atoms like CO2, H2O. Actually, it was in organic chemistry, so they were all carbon molecules. There's a way to draw the atoms to make, you have to know the 3-dimensionality of what the atoms look like. So you have to know how to make it come towards you or away from you. And so that is so funny because that's chemistry, right? This is painting. The lessons in chemistry I learned, I have applied to my painting. Isn't that funny? I am a motherless child, right? My mother died when I was 15. So I haven't had a mother for 34 years this year. 38 years this year, I think. 1986 to now. Whatever that is, 38 years. So because I wanted to have a good and decent life, I took lessons from as many people as I could that were positive, and I would see people that I knew, and I would say that I want to take that part and I want to put that in my life. And so that's how I learned a lot of things, because I paid attention to what other people did, and male or female or anything in between. I wanted to know the good things people did, and I wanted to learn good things from the people. And it could be anybody. It didn't matter. I just wanted to learn good things and become a good person. And because when you lose a mother at such a young age, it changes everything about you. You don't have that. Thank you for the likes and the roses. And sorry, I'm not looking every time. But when you don't have a mother, you don't have that person to go out to lunch with. I remember my girlfriend in high school. Her mother was so wonderful. I learned so much from her. And she would be like, oh, I'm going to lunch with my mom on Saturday. And it would just, and she didn't know. She wasn't trying to hurt my feelings. But it was like, my heart would just sink, because it's like, I don't have a mom to go to lunch with. You know, it was a struggle to be motherless. And yes, I had a stepmother, but I didn't meet her until I was 15. And she, you know, it's hard when you've already got an established personality to bond with somebody who has a very different personality than yours. She's a lovely woman, and there's nothing wrong with her. We never really got close. And it was hard. I was struggling with a lot of emotional stuff. Losing your mom at 15, moving across the country, moving in with an already established family because my father had been remarried. That was, you don't want to feel like you're imposing or trying to take the mother away from your stepsisters. I just kind of let things ride. So I'm keep looking at the camera to see the perspective and how it looks. Because when you, like I said earlier, when you look at your own painting, it's like eating your own cooking. It doesn't ever look as good, but when you look at it through a camera picture, like on here or here, it looks very different. Like I just don't, I think this one has hard edges. It's kind of bugging me still. I can't get them as soft as I'd like. So I'm just gonna try and drag that out a little. This is just takes time and practice. Patience. Painting has taught me patience. I'm not a very patient person in real life. Like in my daily life, I am like, say me and my husband go to the grocery store. Well, my husband is very patient, and he's very he'll stop and think and take his time. He's got to get his wallet, he's got to get his phone, he's got to get his keys, and get all his stuff out of the car. And I got my bag on, I'm standing out of the door like, let's go, I got stuff to do. So in my day life, I'm not very patient, and it drives my family crazy. So painting really helps me with that aspect of my life. Realize, you know, I'm not in a hurry. I don't know why I need to be in a hurry for this. I think because I've worked since I was 14. I used to wash dishes at Spencer's restaurant, which is now closed, in Annapolis, Missouri, for $1.25 an hour in 1985. That was my first job. Kaylee, will Tommy get the help he needs and be here for me and the baby? Well, if you're talking about addiction, Tommy has to find his own bottom. If you're married, God bless you. My husband is a recovering alcoholic and has been sober for 25 years. He was not sober when we met. He did not get sober until I was pregnant with our second child. And it is an absolute miracle that he stayed sober, because most people don't. But you cannot force someone into sobriety. Even if they get sober for you, that doesn't mean they're going to stay sober. My husband had to get sober for himself. He may have initially thought he was getting sober for me, but if he actually was getting sober for me, he would not have stayed sober. Sobriety is a very personal thing. Hi, Caitlin. Sobriety is a very personal thing, and if your husband or boyfriend, I think is what you said, Tommy, he has to find that path on his own. And sometimes people lose their whole families, and it still doesn't help. There's nothing you can do or say. I begged my husband to get sober many times before he did. Many times. I said all the right things. I'd been in therapy for a long time. My dad and mom were both addicts and alcoholics. My dad's still living. He's been in recovery since 1989. And so I had already been to a lot of therapy and sober meetings and things like that. So I knew what to do and not to do. You know, never take them to buy alcohol or drugs. Never give them money. Never try to force them into recovery. You have to find that on your own if you're an addict. I was just talking about this with my husband the other day, because although both my parents were addicts, I don't understand that. I don't understand it because I'm not an alcoholic or a drug addict. I actually don't even like to drink alcohol at all. I can't tell you the last time I had alcohol. It's just not something I enjoy. It makes me nauseous every time I go near it and have vertigo. So it's just not worth it. But everybody has to find their own path to sobriety. But I was talking to my husband and I was like, I just don't understand addiction. We were talking about Matthew Perry. because his autopsy results had come back, his toxicology report. Because we used to watch Friends all the time, and I'm like, I just don't understand how somebody with the world at his fingertips couldn't stay sober with all the things that he had been through. And my husband was trying to explain to me, and I still don't really understand it. But I know it's something that is very personal. And he said, it's fear. Betty, I'll get to that in a second. My husband said it's fear. His addiction was fear-based. He was afraid. And I said, what are you afraid of? He's like, life. Just afraid of everything. I'm afraid I'm not good enough. I'm afraid I'm not this. I'm afraid. And I'm like, I don't really understand that. I think part of the reason why I'm not an addict, even though I'm surrounded by addicts in my family, I think part of the reason, hold on. Okay, Ethan, I'm also going to email you about something else too. Don't let me forget, about the class in March. Part of the reason I think I'm not an addict is because I'm a talker. I would talk about my problems to anybody who would listen. Ever since I was a kid, I had a lot of trauma in my life. Niners, yay, they won last night. It was a great game. This is a sign from your brother. He's saying hi. Are you in the Bay Area? I talked a lot about my problems. I would have my friends, they would get mad at me. Why do you always talk about your problems all the time? And I'm like, it just makes me feel better. I feel better if I talk about it. It just relieved me to get it out. I can't hold it in. And like if I'm mad at somebody I love, I can't hold it in. I just don't have that ability. I have to get it out. I can't hold it in. It makes me physically sick. If I'm ever mad at my husband about something, we've been married 28 years, so imagine, we've been mad at each other before for things. If I'm ever mad, I can't sleep if I don't tell him. There have been times I haven't slept for 3 nights in a row because I just am not ready to talk about it and I can't tell him. So I think that helped me not become an addict because I was talking constantly, all the time. And I'm sorry to all my friends, but it made me feel better. And I still do that when I have a problem. It's a struggle. If you hold it in, it's a struggle. And that's where I think addiction can fester because you got to get it out. You got to get to the root of it. Eckhart Tolle says, addiction is the failure to face and move through your pain. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Because both my parents were addicts. My husband's a recovering alcoholic. I think people aren't taught how to deal with things. Especially our generation and before. There wasn't therapy and counselors like there are now. Yeah, Kaylee, he's scared. It's fear. It's fear. It's fear. Betty wants to know, do you believe your gift was stronger after your mom passed away? This is interesting that you bring that up because I knew the day my mom died that it was meant for her to die. Not in a mean way. Not in a mean way at all. She was a terrible alcoholic. She was only 40 years old. She had a lot of emotional problems. I believe she was an untrained psychic. She had a lot of abilities that, in hindsight, I now recognize now that I'm a trained medium. But when she passed away, I knew it immediately because her passing away allowed me to have a completely different life. Had she not passed away, my life would not be close to what it is. It gave me more of an opportunity to get an education and I won't get into all the details, but do a lot of things that I would not have been able to do had she not passed away, because we were in a small town of 300 people in the middle of Missouri in the country. And I moved to San Francisco and I went to a really good school and got a good education. It made a huge difference in my life. And I got to be, that's why I'm a Niner fan. Since 86, baby. It gave me a lot of opportunities I would have never, ever had at all. I think I already had gifts, but again, that was 1986 when she passed, and my mediumship began. This is the 5-year anniversary of my mediumship this month. So, what was that, 2019? So it was a long time, but I had paranormal and psychic experiences all along. I had precognitive dreams. I predicted some things that were going to happen that happened. Nothing like newsworthy or anything, but things like I was going on vacation with my husband and my boys, and my husband was driving, and I said, and this was 15 years ago, at least. So my kids were young, ish. I said, be careful. We're going down 95. If anybody's driven down the East Coast 95, you know the people are crazy on that highway. They're going 1,000,000 miles an hour no matter what. And I said, be careful. In 30 seconds, there's going to be an accident in front of us. Slow down. And lo and behold, he slowed down and there was an accident, and it probably saved our lives. I can't say that for sure. But so I think I always had it, but my abilities didn't come in until my kids were adults. I was a very motherly mom, and my kids still say, cut the cord, Mom, even though they live far away from me because we moved. But I'm a mama. I'm a mama bear. And I wanted to, because I think I lost my mom so young, I wanted to spend every second I could. I'm going to cry because I love my boys so much. I wanted to spend every second I could with them, so I would never lose a second with them, because I wanted to be with them all the time. So I don't think I could have been a good medium until they were grown. And I think that's why my abilities, the spirit world waited for my boys to be older and working and independent and not dependent on me before it really kicked in. Sorry. Paula, how does it feel? How does it feel? I would say, I said this earlier, if you're new to the live, we've been live for 2 hours. I would say that even if you take it and it's the wrong decision, you'll be rerouted to the right thing later. So don't be afraid, unless it feels ick. So I just had an experience where I was at a place that felt ick. I knew it for months. From the moment I walked into this place, I had a feeling of dread every day. Hi, T. Oh my God. I'm so glad you're here. I love your videos and your lives. Love, love, love. So I had the ick. Hi, honey. I love your information. Love it. So I had the ick the whole time. And as of last Thursday, as a blessing from the spirit world, I no longer have to experience that ick. So I'm super excited about that. And that is why I'm here painting on a live for everybody and answering questions. Thank you for the gifts and stuff, everybody. The hearts, and I don't really know what all those are called, but I love them. Hi, Mom of the trio. Welcome back. going to be doing a lot more lives. I have my coupon weekday 2024 for a huge discount on weekday readings. I have day and evening readings now because I'm full-time mediumship. Thank you, JK. I'm an evidential medium. I'm a scientist and I'm an artist. I'm a medium with a medium. I thought that was super clever. Weekday 2024 is the discount code for weekday readings. I have mini reading Mondays, mini mediumship reading Mondays. If you want a short reading, only $35 on Mondays. If you're just trying mediumship out or you're just trying me out as a medium, that schedule has been opened. I always have Saturday readings, and I'm going live Thursday night here on TikTok with medium Kathy Behrens, free reading 7:30. So two mediums will be doing free readings. Wednesday at 1, I'm doing a live with Billy Rubino to tell his near-death experience. So we're going to do about an hour live Wednesday at 1. So I've got lives on Facebook planned, YouTube. I'm going live, crazy time, all the time, because now I'm a full-time medium. So I'm very excited about it. Super excited. It's scary, but exciting. I'm going to try to cut the rest of these colors in before I get off the live and see how that goes. This will be darker. Sometimes I have to think a little bit. So this is my line of Astroflora paintings. I paint to meditate and relax and connect to spirit. And I know people like to watch people do things on live. So I thought this will be a nice, interesting way to do a live. A medium with a medium. Oh, and yesterday I went live on YouTube with the Can Astrologer. And that replay is on her page on YouTube. We talked about how we met. We've been friends since 2004, so 20 years. And we're going to go live together weekly, doing live. She does tarot and astrology, and I think she's going to take my mediumship class that starts in March, I'm pretty sure. And she's going to do tarot and astrology, and I'm going to do mediumship. So we're going to do lives once a week on YouTube for free readings there. So that's our plan. I have so much stuff coming up. I probably am not remembering everything. I have a 50% off coupon through January 31st, which is in 2 days. So if you want a full reading for 50% off, only worried about the hours. Oh, is it like nighttime hours, Paula? If you want a full reading, 50% off, you have 2 days to book it. You can book it anytime in the future. You can book it next December if you want. And it's Holly 2023. That coupon runs out Wednesday. So if you want a full reading for half off, you have 2 days to book it. Holly 2023. That coupon expires Wednesday at midnight. So if you want a full mediumship reading, Holly 2023, you can book it for any time in the future, but it expires Wednesday. I have a free mediumship class February 10th. You can book that for free on my website. You can get your free guide to your spirit guide with a linked video free on my website. There's a big yellow button. Just click it, put your email in, and it'll send you the spirit guide paper PDF. I have lots of different things to offer on my website. New Beginners Mediumship, March 16th. And watch all my socials. Please subscribe to my YouTube. I'm really going to concentrate on moving my content over there because I think it's a little more sustainable over on YouTube for many reasons. I love TikTok. TikTok has, I'm on salary 50 hours now. I will be starting out part-time. Pay per hour is the same. I want to be okay with the financial situation too. Yeah, I hear you. I'm transitioning as well, financially, with my newfound freedom. You know what? I just have faith. I have faith that the universe put me here for a reason, and it's never let me down. God / the universe, however you want to define it, has taken care of me my whole life in the most dire situations you can't even imagine, and I've lived to tell the tale. And I feel like worrying about a financial situation, I just can't do that right now. It does creep into my mind, of course, but God takes care of me. I wouldn't be where I am if I wasn't meant to be in this position. So just have faith and don't second guess yourself. If you're too worried about it, don't do it. Just stay where you're at. Just feel it intuitively, instinctively. Trust your intuition. Trust your intuition. Got a couple more leaves to paint. Couple more leaves. Yep, just have faith. Just have faith. Like I told my husband last week, he was so supportive when my transition happened. I like to say my transition to full-time mediumship happened last Thursday. He was so supportive, and I said, look, I'm employable. I have a master's degree. I have an excellent resume. I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to worry about something. God would not have put me here if it was meant to be any other way. I just believe that so wholeheartedly, just completely. I am a faithful person. I trust the universe implicitly. And I always have. Regardless, I've seen people be mad at God or the universe or however you want to say it. Thank you for all the follows. I've seen people so mad. It's like they're not hurting you for a reason. The universe isn't hurting you. God's not hurting you on purpose. These are lessons we signed up for. We signed up to struggle. Earth is a struggle. We're here to struggle. That's the point of this planet. We are supposed to struggle here. You don't grow if you don't struggle. You learn from your failures. You learn from your mistakes. You don't learn if you're just happy and successful all the time. You're born with a silver spoon in your mouth. How many people do you know? Earth is a school. Brandon, I would say it's your own psychological, mental health issue. You're fear-based. It's not an entity. It's negative energy that's manifested psychologically. Earth is a school for us to learn. Period. We signed up for this. We absolutely did. As crap, I almost said a curse word. As crappy as it is sometimes, we did. This was what we planned. We have a soul contract, a soul plan, however you want to describe it. This is how we learn. The point of our existence is to grow our soul and get closer to Source or God. And you can't do that by only being successful all the time and being right all the time. Like I was just going to say, but I lost my train of thought. How many famous people who were born with a silver spoon in their mouth or got a silver spoon later end up just happy forever without any problems. None. They either have some kind of addiction, some kind of problem, mental health breakdowns, other horrible things happen to them, because you can't just be happy all the time. That's just not life. It's just doesn't work that way. It's just not. You just can't. Doesn't work. Just does not work. It is not normal. I need more napkins. And they're downstairs, and I'm not going all the way down there. Your papa is okay. Thank you, Quail. I think that says Quail. I can't see the... Yeah, thank you. Your papa is okay, and of course reunited. Yes. Yes, very much. How does what work, Danny? I am painting and answering mediumship questions. I'm going to go live Thursday at 7:30 Eastern with Kathy Behrens to do free readings. I'll be doing more lives on all my social media. And I need to go get a snack in just a minute, because I'm getting hungry. But if you want a mini reading, I have mini reading Mondays on my website. The link's in the bio. I have a free mediumship class February 11th. You can sign up for that on my website. I have a beginner's mediumship mentorship March 16th. I have full readings. I have coupons. My 50% off coupon expires Wednesday. You can use it for any date after that. It's Holly 2023. My weekday reading coupon is weekday 2024 for weekday readings, which are available now, day and evening, and I always have Saturday readings. So that's what's happening. All right. I have to go get something to eat. So I think that worked better. I think I am going to log off, y'all. Thank you for hanging out with me. Ooh, 2 hours and 15 minutes. That was a lot. More than I thought. Oh, thank you. Been doing this a long time. I love it. Thank you all for the follows, the subscribes. Please subscribe on my YouTube page. I'd appreciate it. I'm going to move a lot of my content over there, and I'll do more painting, a medium with a medium, and Thursday, free readings with Kathy Behrens and I on TikTok, 7:30 Eastern. All the links are in my bio. If you watch the replay of my YouTube live, you can see all my coupon codes, and they're all over my social media, or you can email me, and I'll tell you what they are. Thank you, Carol. I love you, sweetie. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you soon on another live, probably on Facebook tomorrow. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. Bye, everybody. Bye.